There are 7 things that the devil injected into the soul of the man that form the major corruption in the soul. And if a man encounters God and his word genuinely, these things will be reversed. When that happens, you become a son. When you give your heart to Christ or you receive the life of God, you become a child. A child is not a son. A child is not a son. When you receive eternal life, you become a child of God. It takes maturity to come into sonship. The first definition of a son is one who is led by the Spirit of God. He said, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, he said, they are the sons of God. That means you hear the voice of God and you have come to a point where you are submitted to the government of his Spirit. So he leads you. You no longer do things because you are smart and creative. You do things because you connect to the frequency of heaven and God dictates for you. The second thing the Bible reveals about son is the ability to image him. Because when he defined Jesus as a son, he said he was the brightness of his glory, the express image of his person. So when a man becomes a son, when you see him, you can no longer know him after the flesh. He will represent a dimension in God. So you can image the Christ. And the third thing about the son is one who is under the discipline of God. He said, if you are not bastards but sons, then you will endure the chastening of the Lord. It's when these credentials are put in place that you can now begin the project of priesthood. You represent God and you become the bridge between God and humankind. You become the gate between God and earth. If these 3 things are not achieved, you can't do it. But the reason many cannot be sons is because of the 7 corruption that is in the soul of man. And this is what the devil is exploiting to raise agents that is using for the last day. Number 1 is distraction. When a man does not have gravity in his spirit, anything can get his attention. And the first thing intimacy will do for you is to severe distraction from your soul. You see, when you find a child, he can't even focus on anything for 5 seconds. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He sees a football, he's running. He sees light, he's running. He sees phone. So many have not come into God. They are not gathered into his presence enough to shave off the elements of distraction. And so when you allow distraction enter your soul, that's why the devil got a room into the garden in the first place. Adam was not keeping the gate. And the devil sneaked in and deceived the woman. And everybody fell. What was he doing? When God put him in the garden, God kept him there to guard it and to keep it. Where was he? He was distracted, doing things that don't concern his ordination. When a man truly will grow and be usable in the hand of God, that man will fight distraction, and anytime you see him, he will be about his ordination. The parable was told in 1 Kings 20 verse 40. He said, my Lord gave me a servant to keep. He said, but as I was busy here and there, he said, I lost him. And he said, your life shall be demanded. There are too many people busy here and there. They are not about the master's business. And so when you find the people who are astray, distraction is what defines them. What do you spend your time on? Have you discerned your ordination and you living with it? The second corruption that is in the soul of man is fear. And the devil knows this. That's why you see that in our world today, bad news spreads 1,000 times faster than good news. In fact, your subconscious is designed to dictate bad news so that you can be kept safe. And the devil has entered that gate to plant fear in the souls of men. You hear of pandemic, you hear of war, is to distract, is to paralyze you with fear. And the moment you become afraid, your discernment goes down. Your ability to exercise faith is short-circuited. And so fear is a corruption in the souls of men. Number 3 is lust and carnality. When a man becomes carnal and lustful, he can no longer receive the things God has made available. He said, the carnal man, the natural man, receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, neither can he know them. So he becomes blinded. He can no longer pick the vibrations of God. And because he's blinded, he can't participate in the commonwealth of Israel. Neither can he be part of God's army. The fourth corruption in the souls of men is selfishness and self-centeredness. So they are all about themselves. And because they are all about themselves, God cannot commit any serious thing to them. If you check your life, How much can you have for yourself? What do you need? He said, if you have what to wear, what to eat, and where to lay your head, he said, be content with such. But you see, when selfishness comes, you can't look at your brother. You can't think about your brother. And because you can't think about your brother, you cannot be part of God's agenda. Because everything about God begins with our. Is our Father. It's not my Father. You will never hear my Father who art in heaven. It's our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. But a selfish man cannot see beyond his nose. And because he's too self-centered,